One of the biggest disappointments during the last cycle was Sei. Sei got up to just over $1 and then crashed, absolutely miserable. But is it still worth it? Has it really gone through a strong bull market? And what are the cases for Sei at least making a 10x from here? And the answer may surprise you. So smash a like. Of course, there's a big upgrade coming up for Sei. And I want to talk to you, especially for those of you who have lost complete hope here. I want to talk to you about the tokenomics, what Sei is, and what potentially we could see in the near future. So no doubt, Sei has been one of those plays that has obviously let a lot of people down. It hasn't really lived up to what it's supposed to do, but there are big improvements coming for Sei. Now, the biggest issue for me is, well, before I do that even, Sei, the native token for the Sei network, which is meant to be a high performance block L1 blockchain optimized for high frequency trading, eventually, bridging out to DeFi, RWA, of course, becoming a general purpose layer one, combining EVM compatibility with parallel execution. That's what Sei was meant to do in the first place. So it's really ultra fast, of course, parallel EVM, and it is meant to be doing a sub 400 millisecond finality. And now with Sei Giga, it's aiming to be up to 200 transactions per second. So Sei is, by all means, in terms of what it's meant to do, it's meant to be a very good layer one with speed in mind based on how it was built. Now, Sei has massive pros and cons, and so far people have mostly seen the cons. And with some of the what I probably consider to be some of the biggest factors have been this vesting schedule. This has been awful. It has literally clamped this project down. And of course, it does continue somewhat to 2029 here for the team. Private sale up to 2027. And of course, ecosystem, which is probably what they're utilizing right now, goes all the way up to 2030. You can see here, they are hiring a chief of staff, a marketing lead. There's plenty of jobs. Researchers in New York, NYC. I suppose these are all based in NYC. Again, this is what some of the money that they have allocated to the ecosystem is going to, building the team. Now, what are the pros and what are the cons? Now, with everything in life, you've got to measure where we are to where we can potentially go. And of course, with Nansen as well, I'll give you a bit of the breakdown on how the how the transactions are on chain. Of course, we will look at the TVL. These are the things that matter. Everything else is hype. It's bullshit. You really need to know where they are extracting money from us and where they are putting money back into a project, the current price, and then where it could potentially go. So still very risky if you're looking at a chart like this, but these are the kind of metrics you really need to understand. Crypto is no longer simple as, oh, this is good and that's bad, or I like the color of their logo. It has to go way deeper than that. So bear with me because there's a lot that I'm gonna get through. In fact, I've actually built my own research dashboard for these cryptocurrencies because sometimes I need to actually understand how these break down in real terms. Now, in terms of where I would say probably high performance and scalability is where they want to go. Do they score well in that? The answer to that is yes. With Sei Giga, in my opinion, I think they will achieve a very good high performance, at least in terms of their sub 400 millisecond finality, and making it ideal for broader than what we've seen previously, DeFi and all of these things. It should be well bigger and broader than that. Now, what really drives that is Sei Giga. So white paper for Sei Giga, the first multi-proposer EVM layer one blockchain. What are we getting here? Enhanced TPS, okay, and better finality, of course, and gas per second is a lot cheaper as well. And you notice that the team, obviously, they are mainly heavily concentrated in the US. That puts them into a position of connections, particularly with Circle behind them. But what say Giga is trying to take the TPS to 200 per second. That's the main aim. But do we really need another fast transaction L1 that competes? Now, I would say the existing technology right now, the competition. So you've got Monad, you've got Sui, you've got Kaspa, you've got other layer ones. But specifically, if we look at proof of stake, you've literally got Monad, Sui, Sei, right? Some would even argue throw Sonic in there as well. But these are your kind of options. And then you've got the likes of Aptos there. So there are lots of competition, lots of competition when it comes to this. But the fact that they keep on advertising for jobs and they are keep building makes me believe, and of course recently going to Coinbase makes me believe that there's more to watch here than simply black and white saying, okay, performance has been really bad up to date. And because where it is right now in terms of price, it's all over. I don't buy into that. Has it been poor? Yes. Do they have really terrible metrics? I would say yes. And we'll go through the metrics in a minute, but let's continue with this. So Sei Giga is meant to give you a 200,000 transactions per second at sub 400 millisecond finality. It's EVM compatible, and it's a multi-proposer architecture. This is quite key. And the block proposals are enabling 50x improvements in terms of the transaction put through. I didn't think they had a speed issue. I think they have a builders issue. The ecosystem there is very, very poor. And we'll talk about that. So if you don't have developers, you could be as fast as you want all the time. It doesn't matter. You could be a light speed. But really what you need is developer activity. And we always see one metric with Sei, which is transactions and of course users and all of that. Is that really being spoofed? I tend to think so, because I don't know anybody with a major size that's actively building on Sei. But that's all good, because that means at least they know they're not fooling us, right? Because you've got to be, I hold Sei, by the way, and I'm talking about it this way. So you have to understand what's going to keep me excited and what the bullshit, what they've pulled in previously with their unlocks and lack of developer activity that has got to us, got us to where we are. Okay. So they have this autobahn consensus, which is a multi-proposer architecture, which is pretty good. New execution client, rather than using the, Sei Giga uses an entirely new EVM rebuilt from scratch, increasing performance and efficiency. Maybe that's why they've had lack of developer activity. And async state commitments, rather than generating a state of commitments as per the consensus, Sei generates this basically a new path. Okay, we don't need to know what all of these are, but that's what it is basically. 50x faster, 70x faster in production, and 40x execution efficiency. Okay, great. Okay, very, very good. I like all of that. But what's happened to your metrics? So this is how you know a chain has the potential to grow. I've been looking through three metrics: revenue, users, for example, fees. This is unfortunately the 24-hour fees, the app revenue and app fees. At least app fees are not bad, $16,000, right? DEX volume, 10 million, perp, 15 million. So this is all expected in a bear market, okay? And they are building in the bear market. So I would say if you're generating chain revenue of $171 in the last 24 hours, I hope you understand we're not, there's hardly anyone really using it. And the rest could be all to do with trading bots and what have you. Okay. DEX versus SEX dominance. It's also, very balanced. But I'd say on the basis of that, this number is absolute BS. It's terrible. And if Sei get to see this video, what I would say is, and it's not just Sei, by the way, I'm coming out for a lot of, I'm putting a lot of criticisms to a lot of projects. And then you have your TVL declining from well over $1 billion, right? 600 million here. You've got TVL that was just ridiculous back in October. From July, started to decline a bit. But this dramatic fall in TVL is very concerning. Now, on the basis of what their dApps are, this is probably the harshest criticism for Sei. So TVL here, Ondo yield. Okay, so this is a yield TVL on Ondo. But look at this. There's nothing there. Yay finance is what, 10 million? Sailor here, 8.3 million. And then, of course, they've got more yield and things like that. The retail space right now is very, very smart. Look, Kryptonite, which is a pretty decent outfit on Sei, have now got $43,000 in there. Pit Finance. What I would say is we are watching these things and we do understand that the opportunity could come, but these numbers and these fees are terrible. So if you look at this, fees paid has declined over time. There's only really one dApp paying fees or decent fees. Stable coins, a dramatic reversal here, even though this is not the whole picture, right? This is not the entire picture there. So what I would say is, it looks like from October, people just kind of, this just got manipulated and it got, kind of sold. The TVL, the whole thing collapsed. But fees are very, very important. If somebody's going to use your chain, then you need to be able to generate revenue after raising hundreds of millions of dollars. So that's one thing. Now, we talked about the vesting. Of course, it's, if you look at this, March 10, daily unlocks for 4 million tokens. Who's going to buy this? March unlock here, daily, 4.29 million. And that continues. So in order for you to actually, March 17th, continuous March 19th, you get the picture, right? So this continues, but without the demand and without the hype in the market and the fact that you're generating small fees, I would say while it is going to be an isometric bet for me right now in my in the number of tokens that I hold, with the low average that I have, and the fact that they are positioning themselves with, say, Giga, they still have Coinbase and Circle behind them. And of course, there's other things going on within Sei that makes me believe it's going to be all right. You are going to pull a 10x on the current price, no doubt, right? No doubt. Is the team working? Yes, I just showed you that they have lots of jobs opening up in NYC. They are putting out posts, right? But just don't believe when you see the real metrics. Do not believe these teams are making money. And with daily unlocks of crazy magnitude, you have to understand this will only take off in a bull market. So here's my verdict on this. While I'm excited, while I'm actually happy with holding a very good bag of this, right? Especially with the current average, I am definitely not making it as my top layer one conviction, because I think Sui and for example, Sui, I think would be the next Solana in my opinion. But the way I look at this is this: if there's any bet on a small layer one sub $500 million that could potentially go on return at 10, 20x, right? Very quickly. I think Sei is one of those. So you have actually missed out on majority of the risk, in my opinion. The risk has largely subsided, but I think Sei Network from here is truly on the bottom. It has truly bottom, and the only thing that will take it up is if they bring in, if there's lots of hype in the market, first of all, Lots of, the app ecosystem all of a sudden improves and they get decent apps with decent tractions on there, of course. And I think that would happen. I think we would make money in this, but be under no illusion what you're buying. You're buying a cryptocurrency that has largely been going through major unlocks, and that's also going through a major upgrade. Okay, so with that information, do what you will. Okay, it has been a terrible performer, but I think the upside potential for 2026 and beyond, if we just get a crazy level of demand for this, I think will be massive. Okay, I think 10-20x is definitely in play here, but none of this is financial advice. I'm only looking at this based on what I'm looking at in terms of their DEX volumes here. By the way, this is totally DEX. This is not, that doesn't include the that does not include any of the centralized exchange tradings. If you look at holder counts, of course, Nansen will be able to track holders as well. But you notice, because it's its own layer one, it is slightly different here. But let me know what you think. There's your deep Sei review. You now understand where the situation lies, in my opinion. And even when you look at so I look at numbers like this: average daily transactions. Okay, but who's transacted? It's going through the roof, by the way. So this is why I see some of these bots being used effectively. Look at the wallets, right? In no way 100 million wallets are held within the Sei ecosystem. That's just unique wallets. That's just unbelievable. I mean, I don't know if that's that's insane, right? Like it doesn't correspond to, even if you look at the average mean holding, total transactions. This is fine. I mean, the transactions are fine. Token price, catastrophe, TVL, systematically drained, daily active contracts. This is always where Sei tends to do very well. Okay. Really, what's really going on there? They've got USDC, and I think that Circle partnership could be one of the reasons why you keep an eye out on this. But so far, if the Sei team is watching, your $107 24-hour transaction just shows me that there's hardly any demand for the product right now. There's no ecosystem to speak of at the moment. Great thing is, Sei's uptime, that's true for most. It runs 100% of the time. And yeah, most of the other metrics are not bad. I think Sei Giga is going to be interesting to watch. So from where we are, 6 cents, I think, 10x here would be fairly comfortable. Of course, now that you know the chain really doesn't create a lot of red 24-hour fees, but the ad revenue is not bad at all at around $16,000-17,000. All right. Let me know your thoughts. If you're waiting for my Sei update, yes, DXB is holding Sei. Yes, my average is now ridiculously in line with the current price. And yes, it is an isometric bet for me, but it's not like I don't lose sleep over it. I don't lose sleep over it because I know how these cryptocurrencies work. Smash a like, guys, of course. And as always, if you've got any questions, feel free to drop it.